Hello, friends. Hello, everyone out there. My name is Kimberly Faith, and today is a super juicy, exciting day. I have the privilege of interviewing, and for some of you, you may not know this person, and you need to. Yes, you need to. That's exactly how I was introduced to Amber Shirley. We have a mutual friend a couple months ago that said, "You need to meet Amber." And so Amber and I connected. We hopped on a Zoom, and I knew within not even 5 minutes that this woman is dynamic and passionate and brilliant and generous and like all the things. She is just so wonderful. And yes, you need to know her. She is a high performance creative coach for creative entrepreneurs. So welcome, Amber.
Kimberly, thank you so much. I know we've only known each other a short time, but I already love you and you mean so much to me. And from the moment we met, I mean, it was mutual, like very
Yes.
quickly. We're like, we're friends now.
Yes.
We're gonna have all sorts of adventures together. And I acknowledge you for being just such a bright, shiny light in the world. Like your love, your generosity, it radiates so much from the inside out, and you're somebody who I see is so authentic in walking your talk. You like truly practice only what you preach. And I really admire that and I respect that about you. And I'm so happy to be here because I know how important it is for you to serve and over deliver to your people. So we get to do that in collaboration today.
Yeah. And I feel that everything you were saying about me, as you were saying it, I'm like, she's talking about herself. I'm like, just you see it because it's you. Just
Mm,
just so effervescent and just brilliant, amazing. So yeah.
my love.
Yeah, that's why I'm shooting on everyone, and that is why you should know this amazing.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. So we're going. What we're going to do is we're going to ask Amber some questions about her story, her background, her life path, which brought her to this super specific and beautiful purpose in business. And then we're going to dive into explaining how creatives can use their own expertise, mastery, journey, story to create and foster more abundance in all areas of life. And yeah, so how did this all like what inspired you? I want to hear a little bit more about your story that brought us to here and now.
Yeah, I was always like creative. Like I was always in theater classes, dance, art, and growing up we were only allowed to watch 30 minutes of television a week. So we went to the theater a lot and my mom really encouraged our creativity. And so I went the path of theater, like acting, singing, dancing. And I moved to New York after grad school and I was very focused on my performance career. It's like New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I realized pretty soon after that it wasn't going to be this like trajectory that I thought it was going to be. And I was really struggling financially, and that really had a pretty big impact on my creativity and how I was able to continue feeling generative, right? And generous in my gifts and showing up. And so what I thought was going to be like my very fabulous like penthouse apartment on Central Park, you know,
Like the very
like
sexy New York life.
exactly
Yeah.
like all the shopping, all the nice things. I was living in apartments with multiple roommates, like couldn't afford air conditioning. I would put ice
Ooh.
cubes in a Ziploc bag inside of my pillowcase to sleep in the summertime. Because not only could
How
I
about
not,
that for creative?
I mean, hello, just using that creative juice. And it was, I would see other people who were also that I looked at and admired as high performing creatives who weren't struggling, right?
Mm,
They were able
mm,
to make more than a living, like be abundant and generative and generous with other people from their creativity. Like they were creating
mm.
income and financial abundance from their creativity. And I was like, okay, what's different about these people who've figured it out? And what I soon realized that the distinction was those of us who were kind of in the struggle were waiting to be hired, waiting to be cast, waiting to be chosen. And then the people that I saw who it seemed easy in their creativity, they were constantly in creation mode. So they were creating their own stages, their own opportunities, their own possibilities. And
Mm.
then that in turn was creating more opportunities for others. And when that really clicked, I thought, okay, now I'm going to do this on my own, not on my own, but I'm going to do this too. And then once I figure it out, I'm going to help other people. Because you know how you'll see somebody who's doing the thing that you want to do, and the admiration comes from like recognizing that they see a responsibility for sharing that with other people, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's so much more interesting and compelling than like the people who are like, I figured it all out. I'm gonna like keep it from you, you know?
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And that's not abundance at all.
Right, exactly. That
True
is like,
abundance is generous.
oh, that's it. Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that is
So,
amazing. And I love the distinction that you made of the two people,
mm,
waiting or creating. Boom,
yes,
waiting
that
and creating.
exactly. And once you move into the creating, like the
Mm.
tipping point moves into creating, you
Yeah.
don't go back to waiting, right? Like
Yeah.
you learn that skill that you can create anything, including financial abundance.
Yeah. It's like once you know, you can't unknow.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
it.
So, oh, so you've created this system, right? You
Yeah.
have a system you've created called the Wealthy Creative System, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me, how'd you do that? Tell me more
Well,
about
it
that.
came from, so I am a high performance coach for creative entrepreneurs, and I've been helping my clients for the past 6 years in my one on one practice and in very small groups to learn the exact process of pivoting their expertise. So they don't have to go out and get more degrees or certificates, like using their existing expertise as a high level creative and packaging that up into a premium offer for clients that over delivers. So we
Yeah.
really take like the things that they love and are already good at and find a way to create something of extreme value to then share with the world that becomes a foundation like in their professional ecosystem. It becomes something that is reliable and repeatable to generate income rather than the energy of like, let's just hope and pray and see what happens.
Yeah,
You
right. So you
know?
take all this, all the years they've spent honing their craft and package it in a pretty bow as a deliverable to help them not only be generous with sharing their gifts and their expertise with the world, but creating wealth.
Yes. You
Mm.
are saying this better than I do. So that's
No.
no, totally. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it back and take notes because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's perfectly said.
Oh, I love this. And when people don't have this system, then what? What happens?
What I've noticed is similar to what I experienced, that I'll see people spending a lot of time, years, even decades, working hard at what doesn't work. You know how you'll see somebody who you're like, you're just so talented. And every like you already have inside of you all that you need to create this life. Like, because I see the most creative thing that we can possibly do is how we consciously design our lives. You
Yeah.
know, like I was, when I realized that I was searching for like, what is my greatest creative expression? And it was just right in front of me. It's my
Mm,
life and how I live it, you know? And
mm,
so when I see people who are really holding themselves back
yeah.
in not knowing how to use their creativity. And there is a process, like it's learnable. It is a learnable, repeatable skill to really know how to utilize your high level of creative expertise in a way that you become a creative professional and
Mm.
you can lean back on and rely on that level of professionalism to bring into your world. And so I would say just letting go of the struggle to
Yeah.
invite in like all the possibilities that are there and just waiting for you.
You know what this reminds me a lot of? I'm reading this book called 10x is easier than 2x.
Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. It's one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh. And I
Yeah.
realized
Yes.
even in my
Yes.
own life as a creative and what I do is I was 2xing a lot. And for those of you who are listening, basically the 2x is the grindy world where you're like just trying to get one step forward, two steps forward, just it feels very heavy. When 10x is actually easier, when you go so big, it's actually easier. And it sounds to me that your wealthy creative system and process is actually 10xing.
Yeah.
So, like, what you do is helping people 10x instead of that grinded out 2x. Like, you are the 10x one. You're like,
That's so true. And I'm glad you brought that up because I hadn't even thought about it, like truly in this way, in this context.
mhm.
And one of the theories in 10X is that you actually let go of 80% of the things that you are doing in the 2X. So it's like when you get honest and accurate and you look at how you're spending your time, where are you working harder at what's not working versus working higher. Like I
Yeah.
imagine it is like working higher, which is what we do inside of the Wealthy Creatives system and community, is instead of being kind of like, I live in New York, so I'll use that example, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the ground floor would be like crowded with people and you can't really see, you can't make distinctions, right? And then you take like the elevator up through your creativity and your like curiosity and innovation and imagination up to the penthouse. And from there, like the bird's eye view, you're able to like make distinctions, see possibilities, other pathways, right? And it's working higher versus harder. And when you're working higher, you're just not wasting your time doing
Yeah.
so many of the things that you would be doing when you're just trying to like incrementally increase. And that's what
Yeah.
2X is, right?
That's what
It's like,
2x
oh,
is.
how can I take like $2,000 more this year or something, right? Like that's a 2X. It means you're going to work harder at doing
Yeah.
the same thing. So you're going to be losing more time, right?
Yep.
Exchanging more time for money versus when you're 10Xing it, you're like, okay, what do I have to let go of and then invite in, right? And then you start thinking differently. And you're right, it actually becomes easier, not harder because you're working higher.
Yeah, I love that, and I'm such a visual person.
Yeah,
So the
same.
way you just like the way you just the penthouse versus like being on the first floor and there's crowds. I'm like, oh wow, brilliant. So that penthouse view, that higher view, is that 10x.
Yeah.
It is what a beautiful visual. And you're right, it is so much easier. And like you said, it is such a shape shifting, like your mind when you can lock in the like working higher instead of harder, it changes the way you look at everything. It changes your perspective about literally everything. Like I've been catching myself. I'm like, oh, that's 2xing. Nope.
Ooh.
So now that I have the visual of the penthouse about working higher, I'm like, I could just tell myself, okay, time to get in the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. The elevator is not crowded.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm so stealing that.
I love it. Please do. Yes,
Yes,
please.
stealing it. So, in general, what holds people back?
Well, I think a part of it is like obviously like the 2Xing not working higher but harder. And also I think trying to go at it alone. Because what I
Mm,
also noticed about the people that were creating at a high level that I really looked up to, if I were to dissect the things that I saw them doing that I wasn't doing, a big part of it was their intentionality around their communities, the
mm,
people that they were surrounding themselves with. It's like Jim Rohn has the quote, "You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with," you
yep.
know? And I saw them being very intentional about who they were with, the
Yeah.
kinds of things that the people were saying, how they thought, right? And they were starting to model both their physiology, like how they carried themselves, and also the mental syntax, which is the thoughts that they are thinking, which you know pretty quickly based on the words people are saying, right? Because our
Mhm.
words create our world. And if you notice that, I've noticed that when people are like in communities where they're like connecting over struggle and
Yeah.
hardship, they have a very different vocabulary, very different words to describe their world than the people who are seeing themselves as powerful creators, because then they're seeing the world through a lens of I am a creative. I create possibilities everywhere I go.
Yeah. Oh
So
my God.
that's a big one, like trying to stay where they are, right? And make it work there and not being intentional about the rooms that they can get in that will step into. I learned this from one of my mentors, Eileen Wilder, is the reality distortion field, right?
Yeah.
Like you step into a reality distortion field when you are surrounded by people whose default behavior is your desired reality, desired result, right?
Yes.
They're just,
And then you can't help but be
it's,
elevated and
it was
elevated.
like, it's like me next, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally. Yes,
yeah,
it's like by osmosis, you just start to rise by
yeah.
intentionally putting yourself in these situations and surrounding yourself with these high achievers, and the way they think is different. And yes, the positive people versus people just want to sit around and gossip and complain about
And
their
that,
lives. And
exactly, because that is never what I realized is that's never really true connection, right?
yeah,
Like the gossiping and the complaining and the like us against them,
yeah,
because then what happens is you can't really trust those people because you're like, if you're saying this with me, that's probably happening behind my back, right? And then I also the most painful thing in that is chipping away at your own self-trust, right? Because when we put ourselves into environments where we start doing the things that are really against our most genuine nature, we start to not trust ourselves, right? Because trust is built upon like those small moments of following through on
yeah.
what we know we're here to do and meant to do. And
Mm.
when we don't do it, we start to not believe our word to ourselves,
Yeah, when we're
right?
not living in alignment or
Yeah.
oh my gosh, 100%. Oh, I love
Yeah.
and going back to the community and who you surround yourself with, if you think about it, that also in a way is a 2x versus 10x.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
When you're
It's probably the
surrounded.
it's probably the quickest path to 10x,
Heck
right?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Just surround yourself with.
Yes,
Yeah, it's like your community, the wealthy
that is
creative community.
that is
That's
exactly
that.
why this community was created,
Mm,
so that people have the opportunity to be in community with collaboration. Like we're all about co-creation and collaboration and like the cross-pollination that
yeah.
is possible when
Mm,
because it's really a community of the most loving and generous, high-performing, high-level creatives where everybody's orientation is to like how can I serve? How can I be of value? Where can I give back? How can I contribute more? Right? Because
mhm.
that is the kind of energy that never runs out. It's like once you're there, you're tapping into source that is infinitely abundant. There will
Right.
never be lack. Yeah.
Yes, there's always more. It's from generosity. It's like your cup runneth over continually. It
Yes,
sounds like your Wealthy
exactly.
Creatives community is just generosity, and it can't help but all of it just come back. But I think the
Yes,
focus can't be on how can I get. It's just how can I give, and we'll come back and then some infinitely.
that is it. Kimberly, that's it. Like that's the distinction when once you get into that becomes your filter, like how can I give back? What is the highest level of service I can
Mm,
offer in this space with what I have to give?
yeah.
It life, I mean, becomes so much easier, right? Whereas before it was could be feel really constricting and
Yes.
tight and in lack. it
Hmm.
it changes dramatically when you become very intentional about like this is me now. There's a very
Yes.
clear like that was me then and this is me now. I'm a high level creative. I surround myself with other creative, generous,
Mm.
uh, people oriented towards service, like
Uh,
loving service. Yeah.
yeah. This reminds me of Tony Robbins' 6 basic human needs.
Mm.
And in the top four, certainty, uncertainty, significance, and connection. But he says the two that are almost like at the highest level, like when you've leveled up in life, is growth and contribution. So it's like
Ooh.
when you can transcend the need for certainty, and I got to get, one more client or one more this or one more dollar or whatever. That's that certainty that people cling on to, and they cling on to significance. I need to be seen. I need to make money, all that. When you can transcend that and step into a place of growth and contribution and generosity, those are like the highest levels. Yeah.
I love that. It's been a while since I've heard that. So thank you for bringing that back into my awareness, because it's resonating is so true on a deep, deep level.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
it
also
seems
like
like your group
it
is
can
that.
seem, I can understand how some people might be thinking like, yeah, that'll be great when, right? Like once I have then, right? Like I'll have the thing and then I'll get to be generous once I have it. And but the thing is, like, from what you just shared, like
Yeah.
it's happening right now. Like it's
Yes.
not something that's going to happen like once you have the money, once you have whatever you might be assuming is the thing that will say like I've arrived. You're going to take yourself with you, right? So it's like who you're being now is
Yeah.
going to determine who you are there. So this is the time.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, so good. You said this so much better than I could say. It's a
No, I
beautiful.
think we collaborated really well.
I think so. We just, from our very first conversation, for everyone who's listening, this is literally just like us all the
Yeah.
time. It's like boing, 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 boing. So all the people that are watching, you guys, I'm sure you're excited about everything here. So, what next?
Great question, Kimberly. So they can click the link below and they can register for the next Wealthy Creatives Masterclass. And it is a 3-hour virtual event, which is really like you and me, we're going to be there. We're going to be like having a party. I'm going to be teaching people the Wealthy Creative system so that by the end of the masterclass, they will be able to go out and have everything they need to create that expert-based premium offer that over delivers to their clients. And it's free and there's an optional VIP upgrade. So for $47, people can come for an additional hour of a training that will not be shared in the general session. So yeah.
Oh my, this is priceless. I mean, this is worth actually so, 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 so much. So going back to this idea of contribution and generosity, I mean, it's so generous of you to be teaching people your system. Like this is the thing that you've spent years creating through blood, sweat, and tears. And here you are offering it for free. So, whew,
Well, I've been blessed both learning this on my own and being able to share this with my clients. And it's an honor now to be able to have the opportunity to share it with the people who are going to most benefit from it.
love it. Love it. And what's the date of the masterclass?
The masterclass is going to be this Friday, the 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Friday. Yes. And what a
Friday,
perfect
May
day.
24th.
Okay. What a
And
perfect day to like cap off the work week. How fun.
Yes, exactly. We're going to come together. We're going to spend some really valuable time. You're going to meet great people there. And Kimberly, you are going to be our keynote speaker. That's what I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's going to be so much fun bringing what I do and share with all of your creatives how I can help them be more creative with their breath.
I was just going to say you have a special surprise in store for all of us on Friday.
Sure do.
Not to be missed.
Yes, not to be missed at all.
Well, I really want to thank you for taking the time today. Your time means so much to me just because of the level of energy and presence you bring. So I thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
This has been so much fun, and I can't wait to spend more time with you and watch you do your magic on Friday. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, my love. Yeah, so click the link below, register for the masterclass, and we'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday.